Welcome to the SMB Community Podcast with hosts Amy Babinchek, James Kernan, and Karl Polachek, produced by Kernan Consulting and for the international MSP community. We are dedicated to making every IT professional a successful IT professional. Hey, be sure to join us in Newport Beach, California, sunny Newport Beach, California, on December 7th and 8th. That's the upcoming Mastermind Live Roadshow for Q4. So if you're interested in growing your business, learning more about sales, learning more about marketing, learning more about culture, leadership, EOS, mergers, acquisitions, we've got some great speakers lined up for you. And you'll also hear one of the most important parts is we have several very successful MSPs from all around North America that come and present at these, and they talk about what's working for them, what's working and what's not working. And it's a great learning environment on that first day on the 7th. And then we've got also great speakers lined up like myself, one of my favorite speakers. I'll be talking about sales process. We've got a marketing workshop from Charlene Ignacio. And then we've got EOS, we've got leadership, we've got great things lined up. So, hey, be sure to sign up. And one important part, if you want the early bird discount, you need to sign up before the middle of November and use the coupon code early bird, and you'll get a $200 discount. The fee is only $99. So we're also arranging some fun activities. The $99 early bird fee does include breakfast and lunch on both Thursday and Friday. Typically, there's group activities in the evening, and we're looking into a harbor cruise on that Thursday. So it's going to be a great event. I hope to see everybody there.
Well, welcome to another episode of the SMB Community Podcast. It is Amy and James. And how's it going, James?
Going great, going well. I'm a little tired, to be candid. I think today's going to be a 3-cup of coffee day, but I'm just getting back from traveling. Got in late yesterday and had a super conference out at our mastermind conference in Scottsdale. So little tired today.
Well, that's not unexpected. It probably means it was a really awesome event. If it took it all, you left it all on the table.
Yeah, exactly. And you can say that more than once, because it was actually at the Talking Stick Resort, which is a big casino out in Arizona. So a lot of people left a lot of things on the table there.
I saw that you were going to have it there. It looked like a fantastic place.
Yeah, I've never been, and it really is over the top cool. So it was close to the airport, kind of off the beaten track in kind of the northern Scottsdale area. But yeah, sure was just a gorgeous resort, multiple pools. There's so much to do there. We didn't plan any group activities. Like normally we'll plan one big group activity for night one and one big group activity. We left it open. And then big groups of people ended up just doing multiple things, because I think there were like 6 restaurants on site, multiple pools. There's go-karting, there was Topgolf, there's a spa, bowling alleys, virtual reality. So it's a cool place.
Arizona has some awesome resorts. I don't know how they all landed in Arizona, but they've got more than their fair share.
Yeah, they sure do. But yeah, I'm sure we'll be back. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, we have our MSP question of the week, which is, what's your favorite password tool?
Ooh. Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think
personal.
It's quite yeah, it is personal. So I will share mine first. I've played around with different tools, and it's always shocking when you're asked this question, then you have conversations with people, how many people use the free app-based, downloadable on your mobile device, free password tool, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like, why are you doing that? Don't do that. But mine's Keeper for a number of reasons. I just think it's very user-friendly. I have multiple devices, and So it syncs across all of them. And that's what I had adopted. So, and I played around with a couple other ones, but I just didn't really like them for a couple reasons. You're more of a techie than I am. So what do you use?
Well, I use Roboform, which is one that's been around for decades.
Hmm,
They started off as I guess their name is gives it away, but they've started off as a form filling thing for websites, right?
okay.
But
Okay.
they still do that, but today probably their main source is password, you know,
Yeah.
manage
Password
manage
management.
password management. They have some awesome security tools built in. And like when I made that decision, which it's been quite a number of years now. When I made that decision, I tried a bunch of them
Hmm.
just to see how user friendly they were, and I wanted something I could also, recommend to my clients and try to get them to use. So when I was testing it, I had them in mind as well of, how easy are they going to find this to use. And so that's the one that we landed on. And um, you know, if you're out there, I would say do the same thing, right? Research, try a bunch of them,
Right.
and and pay for it, like James says. Like it's a couple bucks a month, but it's worthwhile, right? They're keeping they're keeping your entire kingdom.
Right.
So um, you know, so you want them to have a very active development team that's always working to improve and protect that, not to be working on the cheap, providing a free tool out there.
Yeah.
That's my philosophy anyway.
Yep. No, agree completely. So interesting. I'll have to check that one out that you're using.
So James, we've got interview with a very smart person today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So our friend Karl interviewed Lori Hardtke, and they talked about the philosophy in the book called Profit First. So if you haven't read that book, that's a good one. But yeah, I'm excited to. Lori's super smart and eager to hear that interview.
Hi, this is Karl, and I caught up with Lori Hardke, who is one of my favorite people, but also one of our favorite teachers over at IT Service Provider University. She is coming up with a new class called Profit First for MSPs, based on the coaching around Mike Michalowicz's book, Profit First. So this is a whole new thing for our industry and is very cool. And so here is that interview. Welcome, everybody. I am talking today to one of my favorite people, one of my favorite instructors as well, Lori Hardtke, and she runs Bitewise, which is MSP business. And I'm going to say across 2 states. She can explain all that. She's one of the instructors at IT Service Provider University and one of our most popular instructors. I was just telling her she has the record for highest class attendance, higher than I do. So, and we're hoping with her new class that she will have even higher attendance. So Lori's going to be teaching a class for us called Profit First for MSPs. Now, before we get to that, let me have you give a little more clear introduction of who you are and how you got here.
Oh gosh, well, it all started. No, well, I'll just kind of give the overview. But my business is incorporated in Arizona, where I'd lived for about 27 years. And then 10 years ago, I moved to Maui. Karl helped me with that transition, and I learned how to do everything remotely, and way before COVID. So been Zooming for a lot of years already. And so then I ended up, still growing my business. I'm originally from Minnesota, so you might hear a few you betches and all of that. But in all the last 10 years, I've had to go back to Minnesota to help my aging parents who have since passed. But that was all integral in the amazing things too that happened, with my business that still continued to grow. without me really putting a lot of effort into it on some months, which was, I just found amazing. And then I ended up, still struggling financially sometimes because, revenue kept growing, but where was all of, that
Cash flow.
profit? Yeah. So I ended up, heard about Profit First, and then it was one of those, I think it was in 2018. I'm like, oh, I should really, it wasn't until 2019 when I really started to implement it. And then within about a year and a half, it really made a huge difference. And that's kind of why I'm here today with the new class. I've worked with several other MSPs over the last year or two, helping them as well. And it really changes the cash flow in your business, and it's an amazing tool to have, whether you're small, just starting out, or you're a multi-million-dollar business. So,
all right. So you teach another class for us, which is all about kind of being the super successful solo entrepreneur. And that class is very, very popular. And you really have taught people a lot of techniques about, what it takes to make it to a level that a lot of people don't think they can get to without employees. And you do it running a business in one state from another state, and literally just sort of meshed your personal and professional goals together so that your business supports who you are and what you want to do and what you want to do with your life. And you literally have reached, I guess, a level that most people never reach. And so I congratulate you on that. And I thank you for teaching people about that. So this is kind of the next level, right? And so give us a kind of the overview, 10,000 feet. What is Profit First versus any other system for managing your money?
Yeah, because I've looked at a lot of them. There's, simple numbers with Greg, and they're all good. It's just when you're smaller, like me, a solo MSP, it's just overwhelming. I don't have the time to like sift through my, financial reports. Quite honestly, I don't really know how to read financial reports. Like, it doesn't matter. You just need more money coming in than money going out, right? I mean, that's just, and so Profit First helps to keep that simplified. And the old equation of, well, you take your revenue, you subtract out your expenses, and what's left is profit. That does not work. And that's what Mike Michalowicz, the author of Profit First, that's what he's trying to have, the world change. It's should be revenue minus profit equals expenses. And when you do that, whatever is left is how much money you have to run your business. And when you go, well, I don't have enough money to pay out, it's like, well, there's the problem. You need to find ways to either get more revenue or to decrease your expenses. And I've kept track of everything. And so it's been like all of the little things that we, as techie people, we love to have new shiny gadgets. And Profit First helps you really make business decisions just by looking at your bank account, because you set up 5 accounts, and and that's what I plan to kind of teach everybody.
So what's the Profit First for MSPs piece of it? Just sort of like, this happens to be the business you're in, so
I just figured it would be I really enjoy helping MSPs because we have a lingo that we can communicate. And I actually have a local farmer here on Maui. I've helped him a little bit, he's majorly in debt, so he's working on paying off his debt. But so it works for any business, but I prefer to focus and help other MSPs.
And the Profit First piece of it, so you are a Profit First coach now.
Yeah.
And so you are taking this programming, bringing it to MSPs, And you were saying it works really well with the whole process that you've developed separately of running your superpowered solo entrepreneurship.
Yeah, my kind of tagline is wealth, health, and happiness. And wealth means different things to people. And for me, it's not necessarily money, but money really does help you. I mean, having financial freedom or whatever you want to call it really is empowering for you to make whatever lifestyle choices you want. And we're fortunate enough, we eat, I was a kid, I want to live to be 108 so that I can finish all the projects that I've started.
108, like on the dot?
108 on the dot. Yep. And so there's, I walk every day, or I try to walk every day. And I love to be outside in the yard and garden. I like to, just kind of always be busy, and not necessarily working all the time. And I've noticed I've been, accountability captain, been in a lot of different groups. And I guess I figured out what I don't want. And I didn't want employees. I didn't want to work. So the way I designed my business was, I don't want retail. I need businesses that are only from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, so I don't have to really work weekends. And and then putting a lot of process and procedures in place. So that's kind of where you've been very helpful with all your books and checklists. And, we all love checklists.
Yep. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So the new class is going to start October 24th. And it's over at IT Service Provider University, which is itspu.com. And do you have a website where folks can get in touch with you personally?
It is Profit First for MSPs, and you can use the number 4 or spell out FORE. And it's Lori at profitfirstformsps.com.
All right. Well, and of course,
4.
you get as many domain names as you want,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's the trick for the 21st century. First comes the domain name, then everything follows from that. So folks can sign up now if they choose to. Members of the Small Biz Thoughts technology community can attend at no additional charge. So that's a bonus as well. And are you going to have homework for these folks?
Oh yeah. Some fun exercises, to see how we can, get the business owners to, at least 6 figures in a short period of time, help people eradicate debt. And so it might be different. I'll have a variety of exercises for people to do, and not necessarily reading the book from cover to cover,
right.
But I'm not really going to kind of go into that. We have some additional ways of kind of reverse engineering. How much money do you really want to make to live the lifestyle you want to live?
And despite the fact that we started talking about solo entrepreneurs, this is great for people with larger businesses as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. So just because, you're a $2 million business, if you have 18 or 1.8 million in expenses, you're really, you're not doing that good. So
right.
we need to, dive in and see what we can do to help, change those numbers around.
Well, what's interesting is, we always talk about that as the bragging number, right? Your top line revenue. Oh, it's great. Oh, $1 million, 2 million, whatever. Okay. What's your bottom line, right? Is your bottom line that you are putting more stuff on your credit cards every year? Okay. Maybe you should think about changing things around a bit. So,
yeah.
And when you work with MSPs, have you seen that there are specific things people do that like you can almost count on, like, that is going to be one of the things that we're going to need to focus on?
Yeah. One of them is most MSPs only pay themselves once a year. And
Really?
they wait until year end to see how much money they have left over.
So it's literally profit last.
It's profit last. Yeah. And that has to change for a lot of reasons, right? I mean, no one's going to want to merge or buy a business that is not paying the owner a decent salary.
Right.
So, and then I have other little tidbits of reasons why it's not a good way to run a business.
Well, I need to pay my electric bill every month, so I don't know how I would pay myself only at the end of the year. So
Yeah, well, and the other thing too, and I did this. I've done all this stuff the wrong way. So I one of them was it's like, oh God, I had a really good month. I have some extra cash sitting in my, one bank account. So I would I'll just do an owner's draw for $3,000. And then next month it'd be like, oh crap, I don't have enough money to pay my expenses. So I guess I better put that money back. So it was a shot in the dark. I didn't have any kind of consistent process to figure out what that is. And that's what Profit First does, is we do all kinds of different ways to look at how to come up with the right numbers.
right.
And get you in a rhythm of doing the same thing month. So that's why I say it takes 12 to 18 months to really implement Profit First, to where you're going to like, well, this is fun. This is
Right.
fun. And then you start having more fun saving money than spending money.
Well, the good news is if folks take the class in October, it ends in November. They'll be able to kick off the new year sort of with all the pieces in place and ready to execute. And if they choose to engage you after that, I'm assuming that you'll be open to that as well.
Yeah, I'm actually building out an academy. So there'll be a couple of different tracks that people could select from to help kind of through the process. And, hopefully they can graduate and be on their way. So.
Very good. All right. Well, Lori Hardtke from Profit First for MSPs.com. Thanks for being with us today. And I look forward to your great new class.
Awesome. Thanks, Karl. I appreciate the time.
So I love the idea of Profit First. I just heard a statistic. I just love the title. Whatever's in the book can almost not get better than the title, right? You have to make your profit, otherwise your business will flounder. But I just heard a scary statistic the other day. Somebody told me that the average profit for an MSP is only 6%.
Yeah.
And I just about fell over, because mine has always hovered around 20% or a little over. And that the average is 6, I think about how many people have to be under 6 for that to be an average.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's terrifying. There's no excuse for that.
Or way upside down. Yeah. The philosophy Profit First is a logical one for me. I'm a finance major in college, so I was always a numbers person. When I came into the industry and running my businesses, it was that philosophy. It was, the Profit First philosophy. And jokingly, I've always said, well, making money, Amy, is really easy. You just have to spend less than you take in, right? So it's all about cash flow, and that extra money that comes in, you can't go spend it on, whatever frivolous things that you want. You've got to invest it back in your business. And the Profit First philosophy is almost like the Dave Ramsey on the personal finance side, where, you're setting aside X amount of money to pay all your bills. And then that first money that comes in is really allocated towards your, profit distribution in a whole separate account. But, I love that. That's natural for me. But I run into that all the time with peer groups and one-on-one consulting. People have cash flow problems, and we've got to put them on a budget to kind of fight through that and get things back into profitability. So unfortunately, I think it's very common.
What do we think about this new dress code for Congress? Is it okay to wear tennis shoes with suits? I just went to my niece's wedding this weekend. Tennis shoes with suits, and also men's shoes that are sort of, they look a lot like, almost look like slippers, right?
Yeah,
You know, the
yeah,
velour things with the stripes and that kind of is like, shoes for men have definitely changed. And I feel like the dress code for Congress is changing because men's fashion is changing primarily,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
What do you think about this new dress code?
I can see that. So I love the idea of being fun at work, okay, especially as it relates to our industry. I like the idea of maybe like a dress down day on Fridays, like a casual day, or maybe you could have a dress down day if you win, top sales or top help desk technician. I like that recognition reward system. But for me, to be candid, I'm a traditionalist. I've always preached, if you want to be the one charging the highest prices in the industry and be viewed as a professional, you need to look the part and act the part. So using the dress for success philosophy, I would say I like Congress in suits and you know uh, you know dressed up appropriately, formal dresses for the ladies, but I think you can be a little bit more casual in our industry, but I would prefer to see them take their jobs more seriously. And, part of that aura, I guess, would be making sure that, they're dressed appropriately. The front page of the article I had just recently seen, I think it had Fetterman out of Pennsylvania in his sweats and stinky tennis shoes and his hoodie. And I think that's maybe going overboard a little bit. So,
Yeah,
what?
that's kind of the look he had for his campaign, right? So I guess he
Yeah,
wants to carry that sort of that populist persona, right? I can but I'm kind of with you. At least business casual. Like, even
right.
we have relaxed most of the business world from suits, but
Hmm.
even in my business, right, it's collared shirts, no
Yep.
jeans, no tennis shoes, right? Wear whatever else you want, but with just within that range, like it's kind of that minimum standard. I think Congress is going to have to set some sort of minimum standard there.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm glad you said that because it's to me it's also the way I was raised. It's almost a show of respect for the person that you're meeting with, that you respect them enough to get dressed up.
Mm.
It's, I don't know, it's like going to Easter service, at church, or you have an important customer meeting. You're not going to get in flip-flops and shorts and a torn up t-shirt. That's, to me, that's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
uh, you want to make a good first impression. And there's all sorts of bad things going in politics on both sides of the aisle anyway. I think they should clean up their act and take things a little bit more seriously. So that's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I'm with you, but I feel like it doesn't have to be a suit necessarily, but it does have to have that respect with it, right? So Zelensky from Ukraine, right? He's
Hmm.
running that country and he's running it without wearing a suit. But
Hmm.
his country is also in a very unique position. So, so maybe in his case, not wearing a suit is the appropriate wear for him, in the
Yeah.
situation that they're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
That's true. That's
right.
true.
There has to be some standard. There got to be some standard. All right. AI. Everybody wants to talk about AI, and but I just saw some scary numbers, right? So what is AI? The AI that we have right now is actually, right, this large language model, they call it. And that means they've sucked in all the information from tons of data sources, all of, from all over, and that's got to be stored someplace, right? They're not just tapping into it on the fly
Right.
from where it is. They've actually sucked it in to their own big database of information. That has to be stored and powered. And the AI that we have so far is using about 1 gigawatt hour a day, which is the equivalent of 33,000 households' power.
Wow.
And we're only on the tip of the iceberg of this AI thing. So, you know, all of the big tech players that are housing these things have been on the path of zero carbon and made amazing progress, you know, in reaching those goals or getting very close to reaching those goals. And then bam, right?
Yeah.
This hit. So I don't know how they're going to resolve it. I don't know. You have any thoughts on that? I'm, you know, we don't have an endless supply of energy yet.
No, no, we don't. Yeah, it's interesting. We at a different level, we talked a lot about AI at that last mastermind event. And I think the topic that kind of dominated as it relates to what you were saying is, the human intervention. Is AI going to start taking human jobs away? And I think the common discussion there was no. All the data for the most part was all created by humans, and then
Mhm.
AI is really analyzing that. And I think as a group, we kind of felt that more and more people will, just leverage that. It'll make people better. Is not replace them, but make people better. If that made sense.
Yeah, a couple of things on that. I heard a quote. Unfortunately, I don't know who it was by. Um, I should have put that to memory because it's important. But the quote was, "AI is not coming for your job, but the
Mm-hmm.
person who knows how to use AI is."
Yes.
Right? It's a skill.
Bingo. Yeah.
It's a skill that everybody is going to need to develop in order to have future success. And a wedding I was at this weekend, there was a school principal there, and he found out that I was a technology person, and beelined over to talk to me about AI because
Mm.
he's getting a lot of questions from teachers and parents and everything. And I think we saw the knee-jerk reaction of some schools right away of trying to just ban it, right? But that never works. So he said, what do you think of this AI? And um, how should I as a principal be approaching this with my teachers and integrating it into what we do? He said he also had the call from teachers and parents to ban it, and he didn't think that was the right way to go. So they haven't done anything yet because he's not sure what to do. Just was pretty sure banning it wasn't the right thing, right?
Yeah.
So he asked me, and I said, well, and he was probably 50, and I said, when we were in school, we had to learn how to do math, right? And
Mm-hmm.
kids today still learn how to do math, but we couldn't bring our calculators to the exam because the rationale was you're never going to have a calculator in your pocket at all times. Well, as it turns out, we all have a
Yeah.
calculator in our pocket at all times.
Right.
So we weren't taught to use the tool as much as we probably should have been.
True.
And AI is just exactly that. It's a tool
Mm-hmm.
that the kids in school today need to know how to use that tool. And there are certain skills with it, right, that we know so far, which again is just a tiny thing of what this is going to be. But we know that you need the skills to be able to write the prompts to get good information out.
Yep.
And that isn't really today what we see with the just chat, back and forth, chit chat. It is some detailed step-by-step instructions. When this becomes your true assistant, here's all the things I need you to do. I need you to do this, do that, go out and find this information, verify that with a second source, cite the sources, make a list, create a PowerPoint, write a script, blah, blah, blah. you know, telling it exactly what you want it to do because this is
Yep.
your assistant, right?
Yeah. Wow. What a powerful comment you just made. You know, everything I'm reading is about all the teachers and the professors, shunning AI, saying, nope, you can't use it. We have our own little committee making sure you're not cheating and having it write your papers for you. On the flip side, they ought to design the curriculum around how to use it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And wow, yeah,
Yes. The
that's
other
spot
part of the skill set they're going to have to learn to do is to make sure that the information that has been cited is actually correct
on. Accurate. Yep.
and accurate, and proofreading. Right? If you've asked it to write you something, you now have to go through and proofread it. I'm a horrible proofreader. That is a skill I do not possess. But man, if you're in school today, you better become a really good proofreader, because you're going to be doing a lot of it through your career, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's obviously there's more and more classes popping up, but you're kind of giving me some new content ideas of creating some curriculum around how to use AI right in the workplace.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Yep,
that's
yep.
awesome.
So tagged onto that, I was at a conference recently. I mentioned before I was going to the experts conference by Quest.
Yep.
What a fabulous conference. I just
Hmm.
had a great time there. You know, very technical. And all the talk there was Microsoft Copilot because it happened to hit at the time when Microsoft made their big announcement about it.
Yeah.
And Copilot isn't one thing, it's many products from Microsoft sort of under the Copilot umbrella. They've got their GitHub Copilot's been out for a while now, and then there's Microsoft 365 Copilot and Security Copilot and Bing Copilot and all these different aspects. So that was all the chitter chatter at the conference. Regardless of what the content was, that was the hallway talk and the cocktail hour talk and the after party talk, and it was all about Copilot and AI and how to
Yeah.
leverage it and what they're going to do. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Exciting.
everybody's pretty excited about it. So you had a mastermind event last week. What was
Yeah.
the hallway talk at your conference?
It was a little mixed. So there was a little M&A talk. So we had some sessions on that and some discussion. We did certainly talk about AI. We didn't really go into the Microsoft side, but we talked about AI for sure. And then it seemed like the overarching theme across the board was just general marketing of your business. It was those workshops are always business growth events. So we have a wide variety of topics, but there were several sessions that we had around different ways of marketing your business. One of the members used an outsourced appointment setting company for a couple years, and then he ended up deciding to bring it in house. And he went into all the tools he's using, all the stats, the results that they're getting, which are fantastic. So, and then other members reported out. One of my favorite sessions, the first day, half the day, the whole morning is really the members giving their quarterly updates. We call it the good, the bad, the ugly. And it's like, here's who I am. Here's how I'm different than my competition in the marketplace. Here's what my plan was or what campaigns I'm going to run. Here's what worked and here's what didn't work. And, so those are my favorite because that's where everybody learns so much, of what's working and what's not. And most of that, of course, was all the different marketing campaigns that they were using. The one thing I'll just say, everybody listening, the huge takeaway for me was don't just do one thing. Just don't rely on email marketing. Or if you've got a couple inside salespeople, don't just rely on phone work. You need a diverse marketing with multiple campaigns, from direct mail to telemarketing, to face-to-face meetings, networking events, email marketing. When you weave all those things, those different ways to touch the client together with the same campaign, that's where people were getting the most results for sure. So
Yep. I see the same thing. My MSP has been doing networking events for the last couple of years, and
mhm.
and I also myself post a lot of stuff on LinkedIn, right, regularly.
Yeah.
What happens is, um, when you're running those sort of awareness campaigns, is really what they are. um, People get to know you, or they feel like they've gotten to know you, right? And
Mhm.
we've always said, all business is personal. It's super true in the SMB market space. People like to do business with people they think that they know and that they're going to like, or that they do like. And so, as the world gets more automated,
Yeah.
it's actually the personal interactions that win the day and win the client, and,
Yeah.
and it's even the reason why they keep you around as a vendor too,
Hmm.
right? They get to know your people, they get to know your business, they want that personal relationship. So I think delivering that in your marketing is crucial, like you just said.
Yeah. Yeah. We always use the term edutainment. We need to educate, present ourselves as the thought leaders, but also use our personalities to entertain people.
Hmm.
It was funny. I got to tell you, Amy, this was hilarious. There were some people at the conference I didn't recognize that just attended my mastermind event. So of course I come up and introduce myself, and one of them I thought I knew, and it was like, John, is that you? And he's like, no, I'm Matt. And I'm like, oh, hey, Matt, how did you hear about the conference? And he said he heard it on the SMB community podcast. So,
Sweet.
uh, yeah, that was awesome. He goes, I listen to it all the time. I love the bantering back and forth. And so anyway, that was cool. That was cool. So if any of you listeners out there, be sure to subscribe to the SMB community podcast on any of the platform of your preference, or just go to the smbcommunitypodcast.com website, and you can download any of the archived podcasts that we have up there. We've got tons and tons.
And
So I'll
tell
try
your
and
friends
share that.
too.
Yeah,
Get them to subscribe. We want to grow this thing so we can be around for a long time. So the last thing I wanted to really bring up today is just real quick. Jay McBain, which if anybody listening doesn't know Jay McBain, you need to just go over to LinkedIn and connect with him there.
yeah,
But he works for a company called Canalys, and they generate statistics for our industry, right? They go out and do the research, and they come up with these great graphics and reports. We can't afford the reports because they're not geared for us. They're geared for big vendors to get their market information. But the graphics that they produce are so interesting and useful for us.
yeah,
And they just did one on the market opportunity in SMB, and how important we are as employers, and just to the world markets in general. I mean, we're going to be up to 2 trillion in the United States, alone. Now, when you add the rest of the world to that, it's huge numbers. But they break it down into different parts of our industry, so you can find out which parts are growing, which parts aren't growing, and position yourself accordingly in the growth zones.
yeah. I saw that graph as well. That's an amazing graph as it relates to SMBs. As a total employer, SMBs is total IT spending. uh and I'm a numbers person again, as we talked about. I love the numbers, and Jay's been a celebrity in the industry for a long time. So like Amy said, if you don't know him or follow him, make sure you at least connect with him on LinkedIn. It's funny, remember the Harry Brailsford events years back, the SMB Nation events?
Hmm.
That's actually in 2008. both Jay and I were speaking at that event, and I remember meeting him for the first time. And I think this was way back when he was with Lenovo, if memory serves me right. But he was with a manufacturer at that time. But he's a great person, great family man, and it's cool to see what he's been able to do with his career. But certainly a thought leader in our industry.
All right, let's wrap up the show. I will say tomorrow, and it truly isn't too late, get yourself over to Chicago, sign up to attend the ITO Compass Conference. It's the 13th and 14th. I'm going to be speaking there along with a whole bunch of other people. And I've been to this conference before. It was a few years ago. Really like it because it's small, and I'm such a big fan of small conferences.
Yeah.
Because you really get to interact with the speakers, you get to interact with the other people in a way that just doesn't happen at the larger events, right? It's much more community focused and personal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like them. So, I think there'll probably be 75, 100 people there, and so get yourself over there, have a good time at that event, learn some stuff, and look me up too. I love to meet everybody.
Yeah. So you can sign up at itocompass.com. I'll drop the link in the show notes as well. But yeah, there's several great speakers I saw on the lineup there that are going to be out there. So join Amy and team at that itocompass.com function. All right. It looks like that's a wrap. Thanks, Amy, for leading the charge today, and great topics of conversation. I know we've got some cool questions that came in as well for next week. So be sure to tune in next week to the SMB Community Podcast, and go to the website if you want to, if you have a question that you'd like us to discuss on your behalf or comment, we'd love to hear from you. So go to the smbcommunitypodcast.com website and send in your request.
Awesome. All right, James, we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks. I will see you soon.